Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mike Kollin at MikeKollin.com. God loves you. This video is going to be a little different. It probably has more than one point to make. And it might be intense. If you don't like cussing, get off this channel, get off this video right now. Okay, so this channel is, this video is going to be about some things I've talked about in the past, but I think it's really important because we have some new people, and there's a message that I gave out, probably a series of videos that I think for those of you who have heard it, it probably helped you a lot, and I think it's important for the newer people to hear it. So the message is God has always loved you. God has always loved you. And God still loves you and always will. There was a really rude, very wrong game that has been played since the beginning of time. The book of Genesis, in fact, every book in the Bible, every character in the Bible, every experience in the Bible is not about those people or beings back then. It's about you, all of you. And the fact that our churches don't bluntly, out front, very specifically tell you, look, you also went through the Garden of Eden. In this lifetime, you have also dealt with the seed of Cain. You have dealt with all of the backstabbing, the jealousy, the hatred that Cain had towards his brother when he killed Abel. All of it. The book of Job, you know, the very wealthy man that was close to God. God loved him and favored him, and he was very wealthy and successful and happy. And he loved God with all his heart. And even though the devil came along and said, well, that's only because he's wealthy, God said, no, go ahead, test him fine, take everything away, do whatever you want to him. But I forget, there was one thing he couldn't do to him. I forget what it was. Something like, you can do anything you want, but you can't lay a hand on him, or something like that. So he took away his wealth, took away his wife, his family, took away his home, his property. He left him with boils and this, and it was one thing after another, you know, just painful skin irritations, etc. And he never turned from God. This is also your story in this lifetime too. That's what all the stories in the Bible are about. They're talking about you. Now you might be thinking, what? But I have turned from God. No, you haven't. You might have got mad at God. You might have cussed at God. You might have stopped praying for 6 months, a year, maybe even years. You might have done. You might have turned away from God. But that doesn't mean that you're actually giving up on God. If you truly gave up on God, we're 3 minutes and 28 seconds in right now. You would have already turned this off. The thing you have to understand was you were tricked into feeling embarrassed, ashamed, not good enough, unworthy of even praying to God, of even looking upon God. All of this, the book of Genesis, the garden, the forbidden fruit, it was all a horrible attack. God is very aware that you have been manipulated, you have been tricked, you have been stabbed in the back, you have been terrorized, you've been horrified. God is very, very, very aware that you have been tricked, manipulated, hurt, and scared. And you may have done things that you regret. You may have done things that are out of your character. God is very, very aware of this, and it's okay. The church wants you to believe that because you were manipulated, because the wool was pulled over your eyes, because you were tricked, because this mean, manipulative being, entity did these horrible things to you, and you reacted, say, in not such a good way. Oh, you're a sinner. You're going to hell. Now, God is very aware. Now listen closely. God is very aware that you have been manipulated and tricked, and it keeps happening. God does not, he's not angry with you. He's not mad at you. He loves you very, very much. He knows you're making mistakes. He also knows you're learning from them, and he's okay with it. God is very aware that you have been set up time and time again. Things were done outside of your awareness. You didn't know. People had tricked you and done things. And if you don't think God sees that, God sees that. God doesn't judge you. That's the thing I think a lot of you don't understand. Even Jesus says, "For even I do not sit in the seat of judgment." He does say that that's God's seat, but you are forgiven, period, end of sentence. See, it goes even beyond the fact that Jesus died for you. It's the message that God was trying to tell you is like, look, I was there at the garden. See, your garden is every time someone manipulates you, every time somebody tricks you, every time somebody tries to get you to do something bad or wrong or to falter. God's very aware that you were tricked. He's not mad at you. He's mad at them. So I want to make sure you're getting the message that I'm saying. I'm not saying, oh, you're condemned. Oh, you're no good. You're a sinner. You're going to hell. You've got to be submissive to me and my church. And that's the way I do feel and believe that most church, and I would say most people, 80+% of people in the church are. They're like, oh, I would go to a new church when we'd move, and they'd act like I'd never read the Bible, never heard of Jesus. Oh, you're a sinner, you're going to hell. And I started to realize, like, wait, why are they mad at me? Why are they angry? Like, what's going on here? It's like they were trying to beat me down, saying, hey, you're beneath me, man. You're my footstool. I'm going to stand on you. There was this woman on YouTube who said she was going to pray for, I think it was Ricky Gervais or something like that. She was, oh, I'm going to pray for Ricky Gervais to find Jesus. And I wanted to write back like, and I'm going to pray for you to find Jesus, you arrogant, egotistical SOB. I'm going to let you know right now, anyone who uses God or Jesus to punish, harm, insult, belittle, degrade people, those people are demonic. I had someone come on here recently because I used the word hell, and she said, oh, I really like your channel and your message, but I'm gonna, what did she say? She goes, I'm going to unsubscribe and get off your channel because you used the word hell. And I'm like, what? Now this is a Christian, of course. So you're literally going to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Forgive me for my iniquities, my imperfections. For you must be the Most High. You must walk on water. You must be able to turn water into wine, and we would all enjoy watching you do this. Please understand, I'm not complaining about what she did. I'm trying to give you a message. When people nitpick you, when people find the littlest thing to say, oh, you have a great message, but I'm throwing it all out. You're a good person, but I'm going to throw you away because you tripped on a crack in the sidewalk. You're not perfect. Just look at them in the eye, say, amen, sister, and give them the double flip off and say, F you. See, most people on this channel have been through hell, and I mean an absolute effing hell that you cannot imagine. People have been raped, people have been beaten, people have been physically tortured, people have been psychologically damaged on a level that most people can't even imagine. It's like when a soldier comes back from Iraq or Kuwait or Afghanistan and they've seen thousands of dead bodies. They've had to kill people. They've seen their buddies blown up right next to them. And they come home and someone's like, oh my God, you're not sitting perfectly. Why do you got your shoes untied? Why? You're just like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Do you know what's wrong with those people? They've never been attacked. They've never dealt with what you've dealt with. They've never dealt with a demon himself. They've never had to go through the absolute hell, the horrific, unbelievable horror that most of you on this channel have gone through. So they're like these little babies complaining about fucking a drop of milk spilt on the fucking table. Those people that are that spoiled are narcissists. The way they keep you weak, they want to make sure that you're not strong. They don't want you to speak with a strong voice. They flat out don't want you to connect to your power. They want you to follow their rules, be a good little boy, be a good little girl, etc., etc. And this is what keeps you weak when you're not facing and talking about reality. Like, where does it say in the Bible that we're not at battle? Where does it say that? Where does it not say put on the armor of God? What is the armor of God? What is armor? It's for battle. It's for war. You got these people, they sit upright and they have a perfect smile and everything's perfect and it's fake. It's a lie. Like, oh, that's right, a narcissist. I don't really consider a lot of people on this channel. Now, I know some of you are, and it's probably a shock, but this is not a religious channel. This is a spiritual channel. I would say we're children of God. There's Christians who follow the rules. I'm a good little boy. This is what I'm saying. I'm a good little girl. I'm perfect, and everything is fine. And it's like, no, everything's not fine. And that's okay for everything to not be fine. It's also okay for you not to be perfect. It's also okay for you to just be honest with yourself that you're going through hell. It's also okay to be honest with yourself that you don't know how to deal with some situations. To sit there and act like everything is perfect and fine, you haven't read the Bible. And you're being fake. So, to wrap up this segment, I want to say this. God has already forgiven you. In fact, He's never judged you. He sees what they did and how they manipulated and how they tricked you. God's very aware of this. It's like going to a court of law. You know, one of the things that I really didn't like was, I said it in another video better, but you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. In other words, a lot of times you don't say things in a court of law. Okay, so you hide it. And I just thought, well, that's kind of like not fair. And God knows this. So it's like a lot of things in court are not actually told. Like, okay, for example, let's say someone completely sets you up. Like, you don't even know it's coming. You don't even know this person, but they set you up. They set things in motion. They planned things. They did things. And then all of a sudden you're the one getting in trouble. And you're like, wait, what's going on? I never did this. You're like, oh, well, it looks like you did. I mean, look at this and look at that. God sees that. See, it's not like the person who set you up in a court of law is going to be like, well, hey, Your Honor, you know what we did? Me and my friends got together and we convinced this guy of this, this, and this. And then what we did was we purposely hurt him to get him to do this. And then what we did, we told him this, even though it's a lie. And then what we did, and that's what made him do that. A judge would say, court adjourned. This person got bamboozled, manipulated, and tricked. You are free to go. That's exactly the way God looks at you. That's what I'm telling you. You are free to go to enjoy your life. You've always been free. See, okay, here's the second part of it. I didn't read the second part. All right, so I wrote this down actually. So God already forgives you. He sees what they did and how they manipulated and tricked you. Here's the second part. They are the ones who are not forgiven. They are the ones who are going to be punished, not you. I'll see if I can find the video where I made a video about that specifically, because I got the message across way better than that. I'm doing it today. I don't know why I can't quite reach the clarity, but I hope this helps you understand. God's not judging you. You are okay. This is the whole point of the Garden of Eden. This is the whole point of the Tree of Knowledge. Satan tricked you by shaming you, by manipulating you, and God saw it from the very beginning. He knows. And God loves you. God has open arms. See, God just wants you to come home. God just wants you to come back inside your heart, because that's how you connect to God, is by dropping down inside and reconnecting with yourself, because yourself is directly connected to God. Now I'm literally pointing at my heart and my solar plexus area while I'm saying this. I wish I should have been recording it visually, but I didn't. So I'm pointing at myself when I'm saying yourself is inside and how you reconnect with God. See, the whole purpose of the Garden of Eden, understanding what happened, was every time someone comes up to you and they look for a reason not to like you, they look for a reason to cut you down, they look for a reason to critique you, they look for a reason to say, oh, this is wrong with you. That is the Garden of Eden. In other words, the whole goal of what the serpent was doing was getting you to hide from God because you felt embarrassed, you felt ashamed, you felt unworthy, like you're not good enough. That is your Garden of Eden. Anytime someone uses shame to get you to hide from God, that is a demon. A demon is working through that person, and that person has accepted the demon. That's one thing you have to understand. It wasn't like they're like, oh, I don't want to do that. No, they enjoy this power. It makes them feel like they're better than you. That's someone, I'm telling you right now, if someone uses the Bible to shame you, if someone uses shame to get you to turn from God, I'm telling you that person will be massively punished. Using shame is satanic. It is the work of Satan. Period. End of sentence. By the way, the reason why demons and narcissists are constantly, and really listen to this closely because this is what it is. They're constantly trying to not only attack you, but they're trying to convince you that you're not good enough, that you're not worthy of the love of God, that you're not good enough of abundance, prosperity, love, and goodness, is because they're not. They're projecting who they are onto you. It's like, well, if I'm not good enough, neither are you. They're looking through their own lens of who they are. And now they're literally, it's called projection. They're projecting who they are onto you. Essentially, it's literally exactly the same thing you have done as an empath onto bad people, onto demons, onto narcissists. You literally saw the good in everyone, even though people are like, dude, that person's a bad person. Like, oh no, you got to see the good in everyone. No, you don't. You need to see both the good and the bad. Projection is something you have to stop doing. Because the minute you stop projecting, now you start to see who you are, and you're like, wait a minute, I am a good person. God does love me. And on top of that, you get to see them for who they truly are. Some people are, man, I don't know what the word is, and I don't know if I want to call them people because they're not human. These beings, these entities, they're demons. They are evil. It's who and what they are. It's why they're called fallen angels. They're not good, and God is going to deal with them, period. And God does not, N-O-T, does not see you in their light. God sees that that's their light. That is not your light. God very, very much loves you. So when I tell you that you need to love yourself, it is literally the exact same thing. And this is where I figured this out. Is one day when I was reading the Bible again, Jesus said to look within. And for some reason, I think it's because of things I had learned since because I'd read that probably dozens of times, maybe even heard it dozens of times. And, and the feeling was, well, no, I got to look to other people. Like, what should I do? Well, what's the rules? Who am I supposed to be? How am I supposed to act? It almost felt like, well, I'm going to get in trouble if I look within. Because that's what narcissists have taught you. That's the whole cutting you off from God in the book of Genesis in chapter 3 when it says after they got shamed and they were told that they were naked. That's when it said basically God came in the garden, the cool of the day, the cool of the morning, etc. And it said, and they hid. Satan shamed them and told them that they were naked. Whereas chapter 2, the last verse, I believe this is verse 25. It says they were naked and they were not ashamed. I remember one day reading that going, wait, why did it even say that? Like why would they have to point that out? Well, the very next chapter, a few verses later, it's saying, hey, serpent's saying, hey man, you're naked, buddy. And then they hid from God in the garden, and God called out, and Adam said, Adam, Eve, where art thou? And Adam said, we're hiding. And God says, why are you hiding? And Adam says, because we're naked. And God said, who told you that you were naked? So Satan, or the serpent, took something that was very normal on a daily basis, very natural, and he said, oh, this is wrong. And you're like, wait, what's wrong? What do you mean? It'd be like saying, oh, you're walking. And you're like, let's say you're a little kid and you never heard the word walk or walking. And they're like, well, what's walking? Oh, it's, your feet when you make them go left, right. And that's bad, and you should be ashamed. And and everywhere you go, you walk, and now you feel ashamed all the time. That's the trick. To the point, whenever you read the Bible, Even though God is saying, look within, you're like, I don't think I should, because that's being selfish. That's, I'm going to be thinking for myself. This is wrong. I must listen to the elders and the church members and other people outside of me, disconnected from God. Whenever someone shames you or hurts you and says, oh, that's wrong and you're bad, they are literally the serpent in the garden. They are getting you to turn away from God and feel bad, to where you're just like, well, I'm not worthy, and you're like, oh, I can't go out. So you read something in the Bible that says, hey, God's saying to do this thing, and you're like, oh, I can't do that because then these people are going to get mad at me. That's hiding from God. Step into your power. God gave you the power. It was given to you. Go reread the book of Genesis and look at the massive amount of power that God has given us. Dominion over the earth, the sea, the land, and all that stuff. Yeah, it's kind of a lot of power. No, seriously, it really is. But you've been reduced to being powerless. When you look within, when you listen to yourself, which is connected to God, that's when you understand what you should do, how to do it. It's like all the information will come through there. And this is where you get your power from. This is how you suddenly start turning your life around. You start feeling good about yourself, etc., etc. But there is a trick. Now, my internal awareness courses and one-on-one coaching, reconnecting with yourself, being emotionally grounded. So essentially it's internal awareness and emotional grounding. This teaches you how to look within. Let's say there's 3 things that I absolutely specialize in. 1/3 of those core pieces that I specialize in coaching and teaching is looking within, reconnecting with your power. Again, and the funny thing, if you read the Bible, like literally, it's just a really quick phrase, look within, and you kind of go past it. Not only is it not emphasized in the Bible or in the church, nobody comes along and says, hey, there's actually a whole teaching behind this of here's how you do it. Now, if you've been watching my channel for a while, I point all kinds of things out in the Bible, like do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. That is close, but reversed. So there's something called rapport skills. When I learned rapport skills, I was like, that's what that means. Rapport skills is matching and mirroring. When you match someone, it makes them feel good. It makes them also open up to you neurologically and emotionally so they can understand you better and create a stronger connection for clarity in communication and understanding and also love. And I'm going to tell you right now, it is not do unto others as you'd have them do to you. It's others do unto you as they would have you do unto them. That's rapport skills. See, when you match and mirror someone, you're basically doing things the way they do it, okay? See, if you do it the way you do it, that might not be their way, and that might actually offend them severely, and that will completely break rapport. All right, I'm going to go real quick over deep love strategy. Deep love strategy is 3 things: visual, auditory, kinesthetic. And then you have the new book, the 5 something of love. So another one is time. Okay, some people really like time. So let me start from the top. So, by the way, this picture I took, literally I'm probably 200 feet from the Golden Gate Bridge. I pulled over because I thought that was just an absolute amazing view. Alright, so there's visual, okay? Visual people whose love is connected to that. It's like a neurological wire, nerve that connects to this. They need to see it. Otherwise, no matter how much you tell them, which is auditory, how many times you hug them, which is kinesthetic, no matter how much, etc., they'll never believe you love them. You have to visually show them. It could be buying a gift, taking them out to dinner, or it could be writing a little cute note that says, I love you, and putting a smiley face and a heart, and then taping up on the refrigerator, okay? They just need to see it. That's visual. Auditory people need to hear it. You could buy them a brand new Mercedes-Benz, a Lamborghini, a $6 million home, a spaceship, a freaking house up above the Earth's atmosphere. You could buy them and they're going to be like, you don't love me. You never show me, or no, you never tell me that you love me. Like, what? I'm showing you. See, when people get together in a relationship and they don't have the same deep love strategy, it can cause massive problems. Kinesthetic people need to be hugged. They need to be touched. You need to hold their hands. You need to hug them. You need to lean on them. They need to lean on you. If they do not feel physical contact, no matter what you say or show them or buy for them or etc., they will never in a billion years think you even care about them. So the visual person who expresses they express their love. Do unto others as you'd have them do unto you? No. Do unto others as others do unto you, because that's their strategy. So a visual person will buy you something, or they'll draw a picture, or they'll show you. They might pick a little dandelion, something that's totally free, or a little flower, or maybe a rose. They'll pick it off a bush, and it may not be the best rose. It might be kind of like not good looking, but if they're visual, they just express it visually. Now let's say you're kinesthetic and you need to be hugged. Well, you're just going to be, well, that's nice, but that's not love. And over a period of time, if you do not push their love button, they will get furious. They will get pissed. They will start hurting you, because it's like, they're like, why won't you? And they'll even scream, why won't you love me? And you're like, I am loving you. I bought you $1 million home. I bought you a Lamborghini. I bought you a Mercedes. I mean, I buy you dozens of roses every day. Like, what do you need? And they're like, that's not love. And that rips that person's heart out, because to them it is love. Like, you got to understand, to them, that is the deepest, most meaningful form of love. And here you are ripping that to shreds, man. You just ripped their heart out without even realizing it. So I'm kind of giving you, now there's acts of service, and then there's a quality of time, spending time together. So I don't want to go any more in depth in this right now. This is part of the training that I do with people. All I'm trying to do here is to say, look, a lot of the teachings in the Bible are either non-existent at all. Like, look within. Well, what the hell is that? That doesn't teach you nothing. Looking within is work. You have to. There are steps to it. There are techniques to it. There are skills. There's a way to learn how to do that, and then you have to develop this ability to connect. I mean, reading literally 2 words, a phrase in a book, that's not going to do it. I promise you, there was a lot left out of the Bible. There was a lot of teachings purposely left out because, well, we are being controlled. Like in the book of Revelations, I don't remember what it is. I've tried to look it up. I used to teach this a lot in the past, but it talks about the 2 little horns. And so I didn't Google. I looked it up in my dictionary. It's the King James Bible Word Book, etc. And I looked in, well, what did that mean back then? And it literally meant the 2 little horns. Now, the 2 little horns, one represents the church, one represents the government, to control the masses. If you think there's a separation between church and state, you're blind. You've got the wool pulled over your eyes. The church is the state. See, one of the biggest problems with having lots and lots and lots of people, it's like, well, how do we get them not to just completely destroy society, destroy each other, kill each other? Well, you have to control them. Well, how do you do that? Well, you basically shame them. You humiliate them. You tell them they're not worthy. They're no good. Follow our rules. See, the way they get you to follow the rules is if they can harm you emotionally and shame you emotionally, it causes you to feel so much pain physically, emotionally in your solar plexus area, in your heart, that you close off from your right brain, the emotional processor, which is how you connect with God. This literally means look within. So they convince you to go to your left brain, and the left brain is all about rules, and it's the external brain, and it causes you to look to other people, i.e. leaders. Well, what are we supposed to do? What are the rules? And they just blindly make them up. So the church shames you, and the government sets the rules. And now you're controlled. These entities, these beings, they don't know any other way. That's why they do it in this way. They don't realize if you do it through love and teach people to open up to their hearts, people will willingly work together. Okay, let me kind of make a side note. It's not really a side note. It's based off of the internal awareness, rapport skills, everything in that. I was just deep love strategy. So I've decided what I'm going to try to figure out, and I am asking for help is what I'm doing here, is I'm going to set up one day on internal awareness class, how to reconnect with yourself and reconnect with your power, your internal awareness, emotional grounding. That'll be one day. The second day will be rapport skills, okay, which will include deep love strategy to help you really understand what that is and how to do it. The third day of training is going to be about my course for women, Why Men Just Don't Get It. It is a deep understanding of how we are wired neurologically, how our mating systems are different, our love systems, our emotional systems, and how there actually is an answer between men and women. And yes, men, you are more than welcome to attend that. It's a very important course for you to understand that we're radically different. It's one thing to say, oh, we're different. Oh, we speak different languages. Until it's broken down to where you can see it and understand it for yourself, you're not going to get it. It's going to be, oh, that's cool, Mike. Yeah, because I hear it all the time. But when I break it down, people are like, wow, I did not know that. Like, yeah, men and women we're not communicating at all. We are not connecting on that level. And that can cause massive problems when it comes to the emotional health of a relationship. So I'm going to ask if you absolutely know that you can help me get workshops off the ground and do this. I would really appreciate help with this. I'm just not figuring it out. I used to years ago, but the more we go into the internet, the more confused I get, the more it just, it's not working. I don't know. I'm not figuring it out. So if you know how to work this stuff, I mean really know how, not. I had a guy try to help me. He was just as lost as he didn't have a clue. When it came right down to it, he literally didn't know what he was doing. He wanted to help. He was very nice. He was very kind. But I'm not looking for someone to I just want to help. No. I want someone who knows, like, look, here's what we need to do. Here's how to do it. Let's put the pieces together. One thing I would love to do, I'd love to announce a date, but I did that a while back, and like nobody showed up. So I would love to announce a date and say, hey, we're going to do it. We're going to spend 3. And what I'll do is I'll separate. So if you don't want to attend all 3 of them, attend 1 or 2 of them. It doesn't matter. So if I can get 10 or more people that's actually going to show up and attend the course, pay, etc., like, I will do it. One thing you can do, you can go to my website, MikeKollin.com or spiritualbadass.com. That has 2 D's, spiritualbadass.com. Join my mailing list. Okay, I'm actually going to go there right now real quick. So there is a pop-up thing, but go towards the bottom where it says get your free download. It's the first section of Crack the Female Code. I might change that, but just get on the mailing list. So I'll start mailing stuff out. I never mail stuff out. It's been since Christmas. And remember, I specialize in dating and relationship coaching. I specialize in my new discovery and communication between men and women. It's the hidden way, the hidden languages, our mating systems, our emotional systems, etc., etc. So I definitely do one-on-one coaching for dating, relationships, emotional healing, and healing from narcissist abuse as well. So here's one more thing I want to leave with you. I'm going to start another video off of this, but what I want to leave with you on this channel right now, or this video, I mean, it's okay not to be okay. Really, it really is. So if you're feeling hurt, emotionally wounded, lost, confused, I want to ask you a question. Can you be okay with not being okay? And the answer always is, of course. Here's another one. Let's say you just don't know, like let's say you're like, well, I don't know. So the next question is, can you be okay with not knowing? And the answer, of course, is yes. Now I want to end this video with this. Something I was saying earlier, I realized I didn't quite get it across, but I think when I say this, you're going to finally understand. Not only does God love you, God is in love with you. You are precious to God, and I mean precious. And it breaks God's heart when you hide from Him. God is not, I'm telling you, God's not judging you. God is pure love. You are God's child. You like, imagine being a parent and you get your firstborn child and you cry because you think it's the most beautiful thing in the world, and you just instantly fall in love with this child. That's exactly how God feels about you. Right now, yesterday, the day before, the day you were born, and everything in between, and everything out in the future. God is madly head over heels in love with you. Period. When I say reconnect with your power, this is what I'm talking about. Reconnecting with God. God just wants you to come back into His arms. That's really what it's all about. Alright, God bless you guys. This is Mike Kollin at MikeKollin.com or spiritualbadass.com with 2 Ds. If you like this video, please click subscribe, click the like button, go ahead and make a comment. And if you're so willing and you want to, go ahead and leave a donation. There is a PayPal link right there in the description box where you can leave a donation. God bless you guys. I'll see you in the next video, and hopefully I'll see you in a training soon. Bye.